Fruitcake is a vintage store owned by two young black South Africans, Stembiso Mngadi and Njamela Telejane. Located in the heart of Johannesburg's CBD, the tiny shop is a sensory experience. The two operate from a small space, flamboyantly decked out in pure vintage.
We basically collect vintage clothing to accessories from different eras, from the 1920s up until the 1980s. And then we fix what needs to be fixed and then sell it to the public.
Mngadi is more hands-on in this vintage store. His vintage clothing shop, Fruitcake, has become a safe space for artistic misfits. Fruitcake is part of a local vintage movement that's making waves. They're taking local vintage to international audiences, in the process creating much-needed employment opportunities for young people.
We have employed quite a number of young people. Some of them have went on to become the biggest stars in the country. When we opened Fruitcake, one of our mission was to alleviate poverty in little ways that we can. I mean, we are a very small company, but we wanted to make sure that young people get exposure into the business.
By carrying vintage items as well as local designs, it gives them a chance to compete with international fashion stores that have entered the local market. And committed to the growth of young talent, Fruitcake employs inexperienced fashion fanatics as their shop assistants.
We also work with young designers from townships such as Soweto, Katlehong and the likes. So what happens is we will commission them to do work for us, and then we buy from them. Or, I mean, if they have a range that they've created and then they want us to sell on their behalf, we do that, But as long as it's, aligned with what we do as, as Fruitcake.
So, we asked Mngadi if there's a market at all for vintage clothing.
Oh yeah, definitely there is a market. I mean, we've been here for 6 years now in operation. When we started, we were kind of doubting as well if there was a market, but 2 years into it, we soon discovered there's a huge market into it, because, I mean, not everybody is into new clothes, is into the latest trends and all the stuff. So we cater for those who, love nostalgia, who love unique items, because vintage clothing, you only get one item, and which is never the same with the other.
Using social media to their advantage, Fruitcake has also managed to attract international clientele. Yolisa, Njamela, CGTN, Johannesburg, South Africa.